There is always one who loves more. You already know which one you are. Maybe you're the one who checks the phone a little sooner, who replans the week around their schedule without saying so, who lies awake running the conversation back. Or maybe you've been on the other side, warm but not aching, present but not desperate. And you told yourself the gap didn't matter. Simone de Beauvoir saw this gap, not as a wound to heal, not as a sign something had gone wrong, but as something closer to a law. Not a law you break with enough effort or the right person. A structural fact about what love is. Two people cannot love each other equally, not because one of them is failing, because of what a self is and what it costs to give one away. She wrote about this most fully in The Second Sex, published in 1949, and throughout her memoir, The Prime of Life. But the ideas were not abstract for her. She lived them in a 50-year relationship with Jean-Paul Sartre that she described, at various points, as the central fact of her existence. He was not always, by his own admission, as consumed by it as she was, and she understood exactly why. Her argument begins with the self. In her existentialist framework, drawing from but also breaking with Sartre, each person is radically free, condemned to define themselves through their choices. But that freedom is not comfortable. It is vertiginous, and one of the ways we respond to its weight is by reaching for another person. Not to complete ourselves, that image she found sentimental and false, but to anchor ourselves, to have someone outside our own skull confirm that we exist, that we matter, that the choices we are making are real. This is where the asymmetry begins, because that reaching, that need to be seen and confirmed, is not identical in two people at the same moment. One person arrives at love already somewhat settled in themselves, or simply less frightened. The other arrives at love as though it were oxygen, and the one who needs it more is already, structurally, at a disadvantage. Not morally, structurally. The math of need is never equal. De Beauvoir had a specific word for the danger she saw on the woman's side of this. Though she was careful to say it was not inevitable, only enormously likely given the world as it was. She called it devotion that becomes a form of abdication. The woman who loves absolutely, who reorganizes her entire interiority around the beloved, does not simply love more. She gradually stops being the subject of her own life. She becomes, in the philosophical sense, an object, defined by her relation to him, rather than by her own freedom. And here is the cruelty of it. It is not that he stops loving her. He may love her genuinely. He simply never stopped being the subject of his own story. He loves her from within a self that remains intact. She loves him from within a self she has slowly, willingly handed over. They are both in love. They are not in the same experience. This is the philosophical impossibility she is naming. Not that love fails, but that two people cannot occupy the same position inside it simultaneously. Love requires a kind of vulnerability, a willingness to be undone by someone. But if both people are equally undone, there is nothing to hold. And if one person is less undone, the other is alone in their undoing. The equilibrium we dream of, two people equally open, equally at risk, equally seen, exists perhaps for a moment, a season. It does not hold as a structure. You might want to push back here. You might say, but I've been in love that felt equal. And maybe you have. De Beauvoir is not saying the feeling of mutuality is false. She is saying, look more closely at the architecture underneath the feeling. Who is more afraid of losing this? Who changed their life more quietly to make it fit? Who would survive the ending more intact? Those are not questions about love's quality. They are questions about its distribution. Her own life bore this out in ways she wrote about with remarkable honesty. She and Sartre had what they called a necessary love, but they permitted what they called contingent loves, other relationships. Beauvoir had profound loves of her own. Nelson Algren, Jacques Laurent Bost. With Algren especially, the imbalance ran the other way. He wanted a life with her. She would not leave Paris, would not leave her work, would not, ultimately, leave her arrangement with Sartre. She was the one who loved less. She knew it. She said it. It did not make her proud. What she understood, from both sides, is that the imbalance is not a sign of insufficient love. It is a sign of two separate freedoms encountering each other. Two people who are genuinely free, genuinely themselves, will not need love in the same way at the same time. They cannot. Their histories are different. Their fears are different. Their relationship to their own existence is different. Perfect symmetry in love would require two people who were, in some sense, not really separate people. It would require the dissolution of the very thing, individual freedom, that makes love between two people possible at all. And yet she did not conclude that love was therefore not worth it. This is where she parts from the pessimists. She concluded something harder and more useful, that love must be chosen again, inside the knowledge of its asymmetry, not despite it. The person who loves more is not making a mistake. They are simply at a particular moment in a particular life, choosing to be open to someone even knowing that openness may not be returned in equal measure. That is not weakness. That is the actual thing. What de Beauvoir asked of love was not that it become symmetrical. She asked that neither person be destroyed by its asymmetry, that the one who loves more not dissolve into the other, that the one who loves less not become complacent in that position, that both people remain, this was her word, always her word, free, free to need each other and free to remain themselves inside that need. Not a balance of feeling, a balance of selfhood. So when you lie there at night, knowing you are the one who loves more, what she is offering you is not consolation. She is offering you something rarer, precision. You are not failing at love. You are inside its actual structure. The gap you feel is not evidence of the wrong person. It may simply be evidence of two people, each real, each free, each arriving at this thing from a different distance. The question she leaves you with is not how to close the gap. It is whether you can love well inside it and still remain unmistakably yourself.